Learning is fun with Andy KB.
Hello kids and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's class, we shall be identifying firstly the benefits of hand stitching to humans, and secondly, we'll itemize the instruments we'll be using in this hand stitching course. So listen carefully. What are the benefits of hand stitching? I'm going to give you 5 benefits of hand stitching. Number 1, hand stitching is a calming and meditative activity which can help you to reduce stress. Yes, I know kids can also get stressed and overwhelmed, and so hand stitching can be very helpful for you. 2, hand stitching helps you to improve your focus and being mindful. Number 3, hand stitching also involves the use of the hands, thereby improving your fine motor skills and creativity. 4, hand stitching is way cheaper than machine stitching as it requires few instruments. In fact, you only need a needle and thread. Also, it will give a sense of accomplishment. You'll feel so happy to have achieved something really great as you complete a hand stitching project. Lastly, and finally, hand stitching is very therapeutic and can help people with mental health conditions. And now we'll move on to the next, and that is identifying the instruments required for this hand stitching class. We'll be identifying the items we need for this hand stitching course. First of all, we'll need fabrics, different textures of fabrics. Here you have this one, which is very simple and light. It's made of polyester. There's also, we also have a cotton fabric here. This is a Daviva fabric. And there is a thick blanket-like fabric. I'm making use of the dark blue fabric for my presentation. Here we also have rubber bands in different sizes. We have this very thin one, less than ½ an inch in size. We also have this one, which is about 1 inch in size. The same thing goes for this, 1 inch, but a completely different color. And there is this 2-inch wide elastic band, and this ½ an inch elastic band. So we're going to be making use of these bands in different presentations. Here we have a tailor's chalk. This is a beautifully crafted tailor's chalk. This is different from a blackboard chalk. It is very durable. It lasts for a very long time and does not make marks on your fabric. But if you do not have access to this, you could make use of your crayon and it should do the same thing. But I'm not sure if your crayon is going to clean off easily. With this one, you only need to use a moist fabric or just leave it for some time and it's going to, clean off. This is called a thimble. You use it to protect your fingers from any harm. You know that you're going to be making use of needles, which are hazardous in nature. So you need a thimble to protect your fingers. So if you're right-handed, you insert this in thumb or on your index finger, either of the two. We are going to be making use of safety pins and fabric pins. These simple fabric pins are also available in fabric stores. You can buy them. We'll need some buttons. These are press buttons. I'll explain more about this later, but these are regular big size buttons. We may or we may not use them, but just to let you see the things that we might need eventually. This is a ruler, and we also have a tape rule. These are used for measurements. Very vital because you can't make any outfit without measurements. So you need to use them to take your measurements. We also be needing a piece of brown paper. It's not compulsory, but it should be very beneficial for you to learn how to draft patterns. I'm using a plate sponge here. This is a regular sponge for dishes, so I use it to hold my pins in place, and this way they become less hazardous because pins can be really dangerous. So you need to find something like a piece of foam or just this sponge so that you can hold your pins in place and then later on keep them in your bowls. Here we're going to be talking about needles. We have different sizes of needles. We have the big size, we have the medium size, and we have the small sized needles. For these needles, the size we're going to use is determined by the nature of the fabric. If you're making use of a very thick fabric, you use the big sized ones like this. Can you see them? Really big. Like this blanket here, for instance. If you're going to be stitching on a blanket really thick, I got this from Zara Fluffs and More. It's really good and thick, and you will be needing a really thick and long needle. Using a thin fabric or a simple fabric, you use either the medium-sized pin. This is really big, actually. It's still big. I think these ones are really good for little ones, so you should buy the small-sized needles. And of course, very importantly, you need a pair of scissors. You have the big one and the small ones. You will need the big scissors to cut through fabrics, and then the small scissors to cut through your threads. And if you do not have access to a small pair of scissors, the big ones will just do fine. Okay, and of course we need threads, different colors of threads. And what is required is that you make use of the thread that matches your fabric. You have to use a thread that matches your fabric. So let's see if I have a thread that matches this fabric. Not exactly. So we have this is the closest, but it's not good enough. So but for the purpose of this class, I need you to see how the stitching is done. So I need to use the color of thread that contrasts with the color of the fabric. So I'll be using white with a blue fabric, so you can see exactly how the stitching happens. It's going to contrast really nicely. Also, we'll need a notepad and a pen or pencil to note down your measurements and designs. Last but not the least, you will be making use of a glue gun. It's not compulsory, but it's quite likely that we'll make use of this, either this or this fabric glue here. A glue gun comes with candle wax. This is it. This is the candle wax. We're going to insert this at the back of the gun. When it's heated up, it melts and comes out in form of wax here. I'll be showing you how to use it if we get to use it. All right. Thank you, and make sure you answer the questions I will be posting on the screen right now. See you in the next class.